Good morning to you all. My name is Chris Turner. I'm Chief Exec of British Bids, and this is part of our regular British Bids podcasts, which we take out to our members and bid professionals across the country. And today we're really very pleased to have Will Lord, who's the Senior Policy Advisor for the Levelling Up Task Force, just taking through some of the issues about the task force and maybe where it's going and what we should be learning from it. So Will, welcome. Good to hear from you, and take it from here.
Great, thanks, Chris. Really great to be here today. So yes, just to introduce myself, my name is Will Lord and I'm part of the Levelling Up Task Force. We were previously a team in the Cabinet Office in central government, but then moved to the new Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities when Michael Gove became Secretary of State. We were the team responsible for writing the Levelling Up white paper that came out in February and now play a big role in both implementation, but also making sure that levelling up really remains at the heart of what government is doing and how it thinks and acts. So I was going to use the time to talk a bit about how the government is thinking about levelling up and some things that sort of bids and their members might want to think about as we head into delivery. So, I mean, the first thing to say is that we know, in many respects, is a great success story, but we also know that not everyone, particularly in certain parts of the country, shares in its success. We know talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not, and all too often, where people live unfairly affects their life chances and ability to get on. So the government's kind of central defining mission is to reverse this unfairness and make sure we're levelling up the UK. And this is making sure that we're spreading opportunity more equally across the country and bringing left behind communities up to the level of more prosperous areas. This is not about trying to kind of do down or undermine our most successful cities or regions, long may they continue to thrive, but it's really about what we can do to build up those places that need it most. It's really about making sure that people feel proud of the places that they're living in, and that local leaders in particular are empowered to shape the destinies of the places that they are involved in. So we tend to think about levelling up in terms of four lenses. So the first one is boosting productivity, pay, jobs and living standards by growing the private sector, particularly where it is weaker. Second is spreading opportunities and improving public services, particularly in areas where they are weakest. Third is restoring a sense of community, local pride and belonging, especially in places where those have been lost. And then finally, empowering local leaders and communities, particularly in areas that have lacked agency in recent decades. So the Levelling Up white paper that was published in February is kind of our big comprehensive plan to put that into action, to level up every corner of the UK. And core to this are the 12 ambitious missions that we have set out. So these are targets to 2030, covering a huge range of activity from productivity and pay right through to transport, skills, pride in place, and more. And the whole idea of setting these missions was as a way to kind of galvanize action right across government in support of levelling up, and also to frame our collaboration with the private sector and local leaders. We're also very keen on sort of holding ourselves to account on it. So we are, as government, are going to report on these missions annually, and the levelling up and regeneration bill that's going through Parliament at the moment has provisions that kind of for government to set and report on missions, really to make this kind of approach stickier in the long run. But as well as those missions, place is very much at the heart of the way that we deliver this white paper. What we don't want to do is to take a kind of completely top-down, Whitehall-led approach. It's really got to be about understanding the nuances and the needs of different parts of the country, and also what we can do to empower local action. And there are several ways we're doing this, for instance, through devolution in England. So we're deepening devolution with Greater Manchester and the West Midlands, but also trying to extend it to places that haven't seen it before. We have new levelling up directors who are going to act as a kind of interlocutor between places and Whitehall, and really kind of high-powered individuals. So we're hoping to announce some progress on their recruitment soon. We also have a very energetic Secretary of State in Michael Gove. So he chairs a cabinet committee on levelling up that brings together all different departments to say how they're delivering on what we set out in the white paper, and using that to drive progress. In terms of particular areas of interest for bids, I really wanted to draw people's attention to the Pride in Place mission. That, just to quote, by 2030, Pride in Place, such as people's satisfaction with their town centre and engagement in local culture and community, will have risen in every area of the UK, with the gap between the top performing and other areas closing. I think this is a really exciting opportunity. It shows just how much interest there is in going beyond kind of hard productivity and more towards the things that make communities nice to live in and pleasant places, and something, and places that people that live there feel like they have a real stake in. And I know that this is kind of the bread and butter of bids in some ways, and it will be very exciting to see how they can kind of step up and really take the lead in delivering on this mission. We're also extremely interested in ways to work with business and to unlock private investment in support of levelling up. It's a huge agenda for us. It's particularly important for the Secretary of State. So again, very interested to see the role of bids in that. So I'll round up there, but I think to summarise, I think this is levelling up remains an extremely important agenda for this government. We've set out big plans through the Levelling Up white paper, and now the task on all of us is to crack on and deliver. So we're looking forward to working with bids and others to make this a reality.
Well, that's just terrific. And for those who haven't read the white paper, white papers can be very tedious things. This is actually a really exciting white paper. It brings together sort of Renaissance Italy, medieval Europe. There's a real sense of energy and purpose there. And I would recommend it for almost a sort of social historian's view of what the country's like. And I do know a lot of bids are already involved with this. The bids are involved with whole groups of agendas. And I think there's a huge excitement and enthusiasm across the bid sector, because here is something that many of us can get our teeth into. I was at a board meeting only yesterday morning where the local authority was talking to the bid about, prioritizing action plans. So this is something that's really happening, and bids can absolutely get involved with it. So Will, thank you very much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And it's nice to see, members of government actually knowing about bids and being happy to talk about them. So thank you very much indeed. Absolutely terrific. And we'll get this podcast out as soon as we possibly can. Thank you so much.